Picture yourself staring at your phone, the screen a chaotic mosaic of notifications, emails piling up, social media alerts flashing, apps vying for your attention. Your laptop is no better, with dozens of open tabs, unread messages, and a desktop littered with files you haven't touched in months. Your mind mirrors this mess, racing with to-dos, worries, and the vague guilt of not keeping up. You're connected to everything, yet somehow disconnected from yourself, drowning in a sea of digital noise and mental overload. Sound familiar? In our hyperdigital age, this clutter, both on our screens and in our heads, steals your focus, saps your energy, and leaves you feeling scattered, anxious, and unmoored. But what if there was a way to cut through this chaos, to reclaim your clarity and peace? Enter the Japanese philosophy of Danshari, a powerful approach to decluttering not just your physical space, but your digital world and mental landscape. Danshari isn't about deleting everything or going offline forever. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve you, keeping only what aligns with your purpose, and creating space for a simpler, more intentional life. Let's explore how this wisdom can help you overcome digital clutter, quiet your mind, and craft a life that feels focused, meaningful, and deeply yours. Danshari, at its core, is a philosophy of mindful release, a call to declutter with intention and awareness. The term itself is a blend of three Japanese characters: Dan, to refuse; sha, to discard; and ara, to separate. Together, they mean refusing what's unnecessary, discarding what weighs you down, and separating yourself from attachments that no longer serve you. Originally popularized in Japan as a way to clear physical clutter, Danshari has evolved into a holistic practice that applies to all areas of life, including the digital realm. In a culture where technology bombards you with information and demands constant connectivity, Danshari offers a framework to say no to excess, let go of digital baggage, and reconnect with what truly matters. It's rooted in mindfulness and gratitude, encouraging you to approach decluttering not as a chore, but as an act of self-care and liberation. Paired with related concepts like minimalism and wabi-sabi, Danshari invites you to create space on your devices, in your schedule, in your mind, for clarity, creativity, and joy. In a world that glorifies more followers, more apps, more productivity, this philosophy is a quiet rebellion asking, what if less is the key to more? Let's ground this in your daily reality. You're likely no stranger to the overwhelm of the digital age. Your inbox is a battlefield of unread emails, some urgent, most irrelevant. Your phone buzzes with notifications from apps you barely use, each one pulling your attention away from the present. Social media feeds you a relentless stream of posts, ads, and comparisons, leaving you feeling inadequate or distracted. Your calendar is packed with virtual meetings, reminders, and self-imposed tasks, yet you still feel like you're falling behind. This digital clutter spills into your mind, creating a mental fog that makes it hard to focus, rest, or simply be. You might try to tame it with new tools: a productivity app, a better email filter, only to find they add to the noise. The result is a life that feels fragmented, where your time and energy are scattered across screens and obligations, leaving little room for what lights you up. Danshari offers a way to break this cycle, not by rejecting technology, but by curating it with intention, letting go of what drains you, and keeping only what enhances your life. What does Danshari look like in the context of digital clutter? It's a deliberate process of clearing out the excess that crowds your devices and mind. Imagine opening your phone and seeing a clean home screen with just a few essential apps, each one chosen because it serves a purpose or brings you joy. Your inbox is streamlined with only the emails that matter, and your social media feeds are curated to inspire, not overwhelm. In your schedule, Danshari means saying no to virtual commitments that don't align with your priorities, creating pockets of time for reflection or connection. Mentally, it's about releasing the guilt of unread messages or the pressure to be always on, allowing your mind to rest in moments of stillness. Danshari isn't about becoming a digital hermit. It's about using technology as a tool, not a tyrant, and creating space for clarity, focus, and presence. The result is a digital life that feels manageable and a mind that feels free. The benefits of applying Danshari to digital clutter are profound, touching every corner of your life. Mentally, decluttering your digital space reduces overwhelm and boosts focus. Studies show that a cluttered digital environment, too many tabs, notifications, or files, can increase stress and impair decision-making, while a streamlined one promotes calm and productivity. Physically, less screen time and mental strain can improve your sleep, reduce eye fatigue, and even ease tension headaches. Emotionally, Danshari fosters peace by freeing you from the comparison trap of social media or the pressure to respond instantly to every message. Your relationships deepen when you're fully present, not distracted by pings or scrolling. Financially, curating your digital subscriptions, streaming services, apps, newsletters saves money and reduces the temptation to buy things you don't need. Spiritually, Danshari aligns with mindfulness, creating space for reflection, gratitude, and connection to your purpose, whether that's through meditation, creativity, or time with loved ones. Environmentally, reducing your digital footprint, fewer devices, less cloud storage, lowers energy consumption, supporting sustainability. These benefits compound, creating a life that feels lighter, clearer, and more intentional. Contrast this with the habits many of us fall into. Digital clutter, hoarding emails, downloading every app, following hundreds of accounts, creates a cycle of distraction and stress. You might keep your inbox at 10,000 unread messages, telling yourself you'll deal with it later, only to feel paralyzed by the backlog. You might leave notifications on, letting every ping interrupt your focus, draining your energy. Social media might consume hours of your day, feeding you content that sparks envy or anxiety instead of inspiration. This clutter doesn't just crowd your devices, it crowds your mind, leaving you feeling scattered, reactive, and disconnected. The irony is that the more connected you are, the less grounded you feel. Technology, meant to simplify life, becomes a source of chaos, tethering you to a state of constant on. Danshari breaks this cycle by empowering you to choose what stays and what goes, to reclaim your attention and your peace. Let's paint a picture of Danshari in action. Imagine you're at your desk, your laptop a mess of open tabs and cluttered folders. Instead of diving into work, you pause and apply Danshari. You close all but one tab, delete or organize stray files, and unsubscribe from 5 newsletters that no longer interest you. Your screen feels spacious, your mind clearer. Later, you tackle your phone, removing apps you haven't used in months and turning off non-essential notifications. You unfollow social media accounts that leave you feeling drained, curating your feed to include only voices that uplift or inform. In your schedule, you decline a virtual meeting that isn't critical, using the time to take a walk or call a friend. These small acts of refusal, discarding, and separation don't just clear digital clutter, they free your energy, letting you focus on what truly matters. Whether it's a creative project, a meaningful conversation, or a moment of quiet. To bring Danshari into your life, start with small, practical steps. Begin by decluttering one digital space, your email inbox, your phone's home screen, or your computer desktop. For emails, set a timer for 15 minutes and delete or archive anything irrelevant. Then create folders for what remains. On your phone, remove apps you don't use regularly, aiming for a home screen with fewer than 10 icons. Next, tackle notifications. Turn off alerts for all but essential apps, texts from loved ones, critical work emails, and notice how the silence calms you. For social media, unfollow or mute accounts that don't add value, keeping only those that inspire or educate. In your schedule, practice saying no to one digital commitment, a webinar, a group chat that doesn't serve your goals, and use the time for something meaningful, like reading or meditating. Another exercise is a digital detox hour. Once a day, put your devices on airplane mode and focus on a non-digital activity, cooking, journaling, or simply breathing. These steps, inspired by Danshari's call to refuse and discard, build a habit of intentional digital use. Challenges will arise, and that's part of the process. You might feel anxious about missing out if you unfollow accounts or turn off notifications. Remind yourself that Danshari isn't about isolation, but about making space for what matters. Start small. Mute one account, silence one app, and build confidence. You might worry that decluttering emails or files will erase something important. Create a maybe folder for items you're unsure about, revisiting it later with fresh eyes. Social pressure can also be a hurdle. Friends or colleagues might expect instant replies or constant engagement. Set boundaries kindly. Let people know you're simplifying your digital life to be more present, and offer alternative ways to connect, like a phone call or coffee. If you're overwhelmed by the scale of digital clutter, lean on Kaizen, the Japanese art of small improvements. Delete one email, remove one app, pause for one moment. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Danshari weaves beautifully with other Japanese philosophies, adding depth to your practice. Wabi-sabi, the appreciation of imperfection, reminds you that your digital life doesn't need to be flawless. A few stray emails or an imperfectly curated feed is okay, as long as it serves you. Motainai, the respect for resources, encourages you to value your digital tools, using them thoughtfully to avoid waste of time, energy, or data. Ikigai, the pursuit of purpose, helps you align your digital choices with what brings you joy, whether that's a podcast that inspires you or a messaging app that connects you to loved ones. Minimalism complements Danshari by emphasizing quality over quantity. Fewer apps, fewer tabs, but each one meaningful. Together, these ideas create a holistic approach to living, one that values simplicity, intention, and presence over digital excess. Let's deepen this with more practical exercises. Try a Danshari audit. Spend 10 minutes listing your digital commitments, apps, subscriptions, social media accounts, email lists. Ricciardo lets you choose which ones to keep. For each, ask, does this add value to my life? If not, let it go. Another practice is a mindful scroll. Before opening social media, set an intention. Learn something new. Connect with a friend, and stick to it, closing the app when you're done. To cultivate mental clarity, practice a Danshari pause. Before responding to a message or clicking a link, take 3 breaths and ask, is this necessary? This aligns with mindfulness, helping you stay intentional. For long-term maintenance, schedule a monthly digital declutter day, spending an hour refining your digital spaces. These exercises, varied and adaptable, make Danshari a sustainable part of your life. Let's also explore how Danshari can transform your mental landscape beyond the digital. Digital clutter often fuels mental clutter, ruminating over unread messages, worrying about your online image, or feeling pressured to stay productive. Danshari's principle of separation helps you let go of these mental burdens. For example, release the guilt of not replying instantly by setting clear response times, once a day, say, and communicating your boundaries. Let go of the need to be seen online by posting less and focusing on real-world connections. Practice gratitude, a complement to Danshari, by noting 3 non-digital things you're thankful for daily: a warm meal, a friend's laugh, a quiet moment. This shifts your focus from digital noise to present joy, quieting mental overload. Let's ground this in a story. Meet Priya, a 34-year-old marketing consultant buried in digital chaos. Her phone was a jungle of apps and alerts. Her inbox had 15,000 unread emails, and her mind was a fog of stress. She felt disconnected from her creativity and her family. One day, a colleague mentioned Danshari, describing it as a way to declutter life. Intrigued, Priya started small, deleting 10 apps and turning off notifications for social media. The silence felt like a gift. She spent an hour organizing her inbox, archiving old emails, and unsubscribing from spammy lists. She unfollowed accounts that sparked envy, curating her feed for inspiration. She began saying no to virtual meetings that weren't essential, using the time to paint or call her mom. Over months, Priya's digital life became manageable, her mind clearer, her relationships richer. Danshari didn't eliminate her challenges, but it gave her space to breathe, create, and live intentionally. As you embark on this journey, envision the life you're crafting. A digital world that serves you, not enslaves you, with clean screens and curated feeds. A schedule with room for presence, creativity, and rest. A mind unburdened by noise, free to focus, reflect, and dream. Danshari isn't about rejecting technology. It's about mastering it, making space for what lights you up, whether it's a quiet morning, a deep conversation, or a burst of inspiration. It's a stand against digital overwhelm, a reclaiming of your attention, your energy, your soul. You don't need more apps, more followers, or more speed. You need only to let go of what doesn't serve you and embrace what does. So, begin today. Right now, choose one digital item, an app, an email, a notification to release. Let it go with gratitude, creating a sliver of clarity. Carry this question forward. What can I refuse, discard, or separate from to make space for what matters? Ask it when you scroll, reply, or download. Trust that each act of letting go is a step toward peace, a brick in the foundation of a simpler, more meaningful life. You're not just decluttering, you're designing a life of focus, freedom, and joy. Welcome to the Danshari Way, the Danshari Way, the Danshari Way.